Welcome. Here we go. Another day
More field service fun.
of field service fun. Indeed. So let me just clean up some windows here. And okay, so I was debating we go over preventative maintenance again, or we can go through data capture. I think because of the project that we've got coming up, Natalie, like, do you want to get into and do more on preventative maintenance? I think that's going to be the biggest one out of all of this.
Okay, that or I mean the product as well, the standing up, but
The Go, like going through Go.
yeah,
Okay.
that's something that would be useful. If not
Yeah.
now, then some other time.
Yeah, I've got like a few. Hey, Ben, I've got a few recordings already of how that works.
Good enough.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like you kind of press the button and then it's done, like kind of thing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
know
then
the info on it seems to be sketchy, but I'll look for the recordings.
for sure it's sketchy. Okay, so but one thing that I did want to raise, because they've done a couple of things, some enhancements. So under Salesforce Go, we've got My Clouds. Okay. And then they've got set up field service. So the setup field service, this whole thing here, this first thing, this is just press a button and then go. All of these steps are just like our no.
Okay. Just wasn't sure if you were. There you go.
Thank you. All right. So for field service Go, there is a quick setup. And this is the press one button and it auto creates all of these things for you. So you just get started right away. Permission sets, profiles, page layouts, page layout assignments, all of this gets done.
Does this cause any danger if a company already has work orders in use?
That's why we're going to try it in their sandbox and see. Yeah, exactly. Right. But we're going to create a whole new work order page layout, which is what we're going to need anyways. And one thing that we don't know yet is if we're going to use record types to like make sure that the page layouts are different. But again, all of that stuff, I don't think we're going to do any refinements until week 4 or something.
Yeah, no, I don't want to make this about that project anyway.
Yeah, but that's okay. We want to get ahead of that one.
Preventative.
Yeah. Okay, so here are some of the other things that happen after all those buttons are pressed. All of the set up all the work types, create all the territories, do all the service resources and the dispatchers. So they're all marked as optional, right? So they're just ticking the box here. However, you could manage, and managing it gives us the ability to create new work types here. But this is the same thing as what we had before. They just try to make it a lot easier to create the work type, add the skills that you need. And if the skill is missing, you can create a skill right here. So the ease of use for work type management and skill management has improved significantly here. And a lot of the times we would just create a couple for the customer, and then we're going to teach the customer how to create these because they're going to be growing their business. And if they don't know how to create work types and skills and all of that stuff, they're going to be in trouble. They really want to increase their competency around the administration of the product. Okay, so that's work type. And then territories, this one's going to be a little bit frightening because we have to create new territories here and also operating hours. So also, customer needs to know how to do this too, because we have this one customer who has technicians that are embedded. They call them embedded technicians or integrated technicians, where they work on the site. So imagine there's a parking lot out there or a warehouse, and they've got a service person staffed on site. So it's kind of like depot repairs, but the service person is a third party, right, to the customer. So each customer site is going to be their own service territory, and each customer has their own operating hours. So some customers operate 24/7. Some only operate throughout the day, but it's maybe 10-hour days or 12-hour days. So they would structure their availability in shifts. So there would be a morning shift and an afternoon shift. Sometimes they would overlap, sometimes they don't. So there's going to be a lot of operating hours. So we have to teach this customer how to create operating hours, how to create shifts. There's going to be a lot of product enablement because this customer wants to grow through acquisition, which means they're going to be acquiring new businesses. So there'll be new territories that they're covering geographically, but they're also trying to get more customers. So every time they onboard a new customer, what does customer onboarding look like? So we'll be mapping that process and teaching them what records need to be created, including territories, operating hours, service technicians, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Okay. It's going to be a lot of training for this one. And the first 2 weeks is going to be out of the box. This is how it works. Learn how to do it manually. They're going to be creating records alongside with us, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we're experimenting with this one.
All right.
Okay. And then after, so this is the implementation style that we're experimenting with. After they've tried what out of the box feels like, 100%, we know that it's going to be terrible. And we know that it's not going to support their business processes. But through that, they're going to learn how to map out what the gaps are. And then they're going to say, okay, actually, this skateboard experience is going to be good enough. So I'm okay pressing the new button and just dealing with all the fields that we have. And then I'm also okay with duplicating these records for the first year or something. So we'll get transparency around what exactly needs to be configured, because after that we only have 3 or 4 sprints because we've got so many holidays happening before the end of the year, right? So kind of quite a lot needs to be done here. So this is service territories, and then we do our service resources. Same thing here. Do we have to create a user? So creating the user, this one actually I really like here, because you can create a user and the service resource all in one spot,
Oh, that's handy.
right? So first name, last name, email, get the username. They get the field service technician profile because that was created in the automated setup. And then, we name them, and then we assign the primary service territory. One thing that's interesting about this approach is we cannot assign operating hours. You know how service territory members can have their own operating hours different from the service territory? I don't have that option here, so that would be a separate manual step. But the product team will be joining, so actually maybe I can give that feedback to them and see, like, just let them know, for this particular customer, they need to give this resource their own operating hours different from the territory. And what is interesting too, I cannot create skills from the resource. I can only create skills from the work type. So the assumption is order of operations, we would create the work type and assume all the skills that we could ever possibly need would be here. But if ever we needed a language skill, right? But again, the assumption is we would be creating skills at the work type, but the work type isn't Spanish installation. You know what I mean? So there
Right.
could be, yeah, there could be some gaps there in terms of skills management. So that would be something that we would have to either teach them or just we hold in the back pocket saying, well, this is what differentiates a field service implementer versus do it yourself, self implementation.
Yeah.
All right. Then next we create the dispatcher, same concept where we are creating from either an existing user or a new user, which also is good. No need for skills here. They just need the permissions, the profile and the permissions. So all the permission sets will be added in a back end process through here. So we don't have to worry about assigning the permissions
Okay.
or the permission set group, I should say. Because up in here, they do a field service admin permission group and they do a dispatcher and then technician permission group. And then it assigns it to the right users. Okay.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. So the second advanced piece or part 2 of Go is the advanced functionality. So if we went back to Go, I want to show you Go because they've got this concept of feature sets. Come on, baby. You can do it. Okay. So each one of these feature sets, I'm going to just filter by cloud because it's a bit confusing. Okay. So we've got 5 here. Well, the first one we're already done. This was the initial setup. Defining the field work, mobile, it includes data capture, some basic items in here to just set up. They can do some of these things automatically. Do you want to look at this one to see what they mean by this? But let's just keep going here. Let's just start from the top. Two of the steps complete. Let's see, manage. Okay. So every single feature has now this detailed checklist. So they will automatically create a case to work order flow. They create quick actions to launch case to work order flow. And then, you assign the flow to that record action, right? Then we've got work order, Lightning record page, and the field service console app. Like all of those apps are built for us. Yep. Which is pretty nice, but those are, again, some basics. Work order import template. Interesting. Manage. So you could get a template. Let's see. Let's manage this. Generate. I've never pressed this button yet. So I guess this is the list of all of the basic fields that you need to import. So it wouldn't include any custom fields or anything like that, I don't think, but at least it's the baseline of the field service model. And then I guess from that template, if there were extra fields that need to be created, then we would just add it at the end of the CSV. Cool. Generate and download. Let's see what it looks like. I have no idea. No idea. Let's see. Oh, interesting. It brought up all of the fields. These are even some of the custom fields that are in the org. All of this. Yeah, right? Very interesting. Product service campaign. These are all. What is this? I don't want this. How do I kill this tab? Oh, well. Look how many fields there are.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's the SDO, the simple demo org, they call it. So simple. And then you can upload. What do you mean? Oh my God. They have a data import wizard.
Interesting. So a custom version for field service.
Looks like it. Or I don't know if this is just for field service or this is just a component that was just provided for this. So you just upload a file, and as long as it's a CSV, you can import data.
Wow.
That's interesting. So you would pick the files, map the columns. Because there's no data in the file. Very interesting. So that's interesting and friendly, maybe, or frightening. I don't know. This is very different
Either
from,
way.
yeah, right? What's interesting though is service appointments. Service appointments have been known to be difficult to import because time zone, number one, mapping the right date and time field has been a challenge. And then who actually completed the work? If it was a service resource that was 4 years ago and they don't work with the company anymore, you need a license. So do you get a temporary set of licenses, create a temporary set of users just so that you can import data, assign it to those users, and then deactivate those users that are no longer with the company? I've had to do that before and it wasn't fun.
Hey,
Yeah.
you could avoid that.
I'd like to avoid that. And I've only done it once because I've been avoiding it like ever since. Like, do you really, 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 really need it? And they usually end up saying, well, no, we can report on it somewhere else. I'm like, that is the right answer.
Okay.
Because where it gets extra painful is we have to create another object. It's the assigned resource. So we're importing on the work order, importing on the service appointment, and then importing on the assigned resource. And then you got to map the assigned resource to the service appointment. Service appointment needs to be mapped to the work order. So we've got a lot of lookups that need to be parented, and it's not fun. Okay, let's look at mobile efficiency. Okay, what's cool about this is that one, it's optional, but two, there are customers who are live with field service and are like, I've been seeing some stuff about data capture. How do I turn it on? Well, you have this to turn it on. So you can there's a lot of like this related list to all of the page layouts. This is tedious work. Super annoying. Like, why? I don't want to do this, Just don't, I don't want to. So this tedious work is really good. So this gets all automated by when you press a button. Now, pre-built templates. This is interesting. This is new. This is new, I think, in winter, and I never saw this. So what is this? What am I looking at here? Recently modified flows.
Oh yeah, the automation. Yeah.
You've seen this?
Like I have somewhere.
Oh my God, there's an automation app now.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple works.
So I can create a list view. Oh my God.
It's kind of annoying because when you back out of the flow, it doesn't go back to setup. It takes you to the flow tabs.
Oh, really? Oh God. It's not even alphabetized. I was playing with a few, so I could have thought, I could have sworn they did some templates for us. Maybe it's these ones? Auto. I'm going to open up one of these versions. Something tells me this was created as with every org. It was in a, yeah. Yes, here you go. There are 3 new data capture flow templates, one for leads, one for job and asset completion, and one for appointment status change. So when I was at Dreamforce, I asked the mobile team, what is your vision for the mobile app? We've got app extensions, we've got work plans, we've got record actions, and then we've got mobile flows. So from a technician perspective, where do we want to drive technicians? And the answer is work plans and data capture. One of these glorious days, they believe that field service, there will be no need for field service mobile flows. Like bold, bold statement. So, right?
It is.
If we can get data capture flows, let's look at the appointment status, for example, like this one, asset completion, job and asset completion. Like these are the 2. I want to take a look at these. Okay. This one is very tempting to look at, but I'm not going to look at that yet. Okay, let's open this flow. So you're used to, Natalie, when you close the flow builder or hit back, you want to go to setup.
I prefer it. Instead, it just takes me to the little window and it's like,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and then it's like opening up another tab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Use parent record or record ID. Parent record is null. Record ID is selected. And if nothing, there's an error message. Okay. So what I like about this, the fact that we have this as an offering, is that we can deploy this and we can see if this is good enough for a customer to just use. So if I'm not creating a mobile flow and I'm only creating a form and the form is attached maybe to a work plan and a work step, like step 1 is update status, right? And then job and asset completion, that's another thing. But this is okay. Let's just verify that for a second here. It's hard to get a true point of view until okay, this is the appointment status change. Open flow. Okay. Check SA. Fetch service appointment record. Fine. Interesting. Check the appointment status. So this is nice because it's dynamic. So if the status is scheduled, it can be en route. If it's en route, these are the only options they can pick. So what I'm not seeing here is the date stamp. So what we normally, or what I usually do is I also include, okay, what time? I am going to frighten you all with a flow that I've been creating, which has been, hold on, super scary. And if we dare say that this flow goes away, then okay, awesome. So if the status is scheduled or update, I've got my en route. But when I'm checking in, I don't really want to give them an option. Like, you're checking into the site. Tell me what time you checked in. And then the default time is the flow current date time. And what I'm updating here is the actual start. Because when they check in, I want the service appointment to have the actual start set when they check into the site. And then when they check out, then I want the actual end. We're actually also updating the scheduled start and scheduled end when we do that too, so that the dispatcher console bars get updated.
Okay.
But yeah, they don't have a concept of times here. So if we needed config here, it would be to display a date and time. Okay, so that's simple enough, I guess. Very
Seems to be.
interesting. Yeah, exactly. Just it might be too simple for businesses because they need to capture so many things when they check in, check out, when they, I
Yeah.
don't know, right? And one of the things about this scary one is when they actually get to the work order line item to start the work, I'm launching into a subflow, which is also equally frightening. I mean, it's not, I mean, we've seen worse, but this is also frightening, right? So this section over here is when it's new, when they're checking in ultimately. So when they check in, we want them to verify that they're in the right space. And then when it's in progress, then they're ultimately checking out after they did all their wrench turning, right?
Yeah.
Taking photos, updating the end time, updating the status. And then if it's complete, then we want to just make sure, like, yeah, you're done. You don't have to change the status again. So if this can simplify that, then great. One of the things that I have seen was in one form flow, they had multiple screens. So I don't know. This one, what's this one? This is their other one, job and asset completion. So get the work order. Okay, here's the asset info, work order info. Okay, so all of these gets and assignments before we actually get to the field. The asset name, install date, asset status, and photos. Work order information. These templates, there's a really great demo. I mean, the video isn't great. The quality of the video is not great, but this, oh, yeah, it's a bit fuzzy and I can't make it bigger for some reason. So I'll paste this here just so that you all know that this is the future. Don't think we'll be able to replace, but ultimately what they've done was they've built these, I think it was this job completion flow. So is the person who's walking through that video. She basically is walking through how to build this one. And this is how you map your assignments. When you create it, it's a manual thing, it seems like, versus doing an assignment and then a record creation. But I don't know. I don't see why an assignment and a record creation couldn't also work, but
Yeah.
okay. So that's interesting. Okay, what else do we have with Go? So that's pretty cool. Oh, what's this? Migrate any data capture flows you create using DevOps Center. So DevOps Center is also something interesting that I don't really know too much about, but it's on the back of my mind to leverage. And apparently it's going to be better where we don't have to install GitHub. You have to actually install something. That's why a lot of customers aren't using it yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So back pocket, probably not for anytime soon. Okay, but that's only one feature of boosting mobile productivity. So going back to the mobile productivity, yeah, we would go through all of these items. And this is how, this is, I guess, the new way of implementing the product.
Okay.
Yeah, we will try it on. So let's see, what's this mobile app consideration? So yeah, like the idea is you go through the first page, then you go through each feature, and then you get their hands-on keys to have a feel for it. How does it work? Now we map the business process. Now we map the gaps in what we have, and then what do we need to build? So it's almost like in the first phase, you're not gathering requirements. In the first phase, you're teaching them about the product, you're setting up the product, and then when they have their hands-on keys, when they're in the org, when they're in the app, then you start gathering requirements because it's at least more aligned to what the system can actually do, which is
Gotcha.
yeah, like it's a different approach. You know, usually we say, well, it doesn't matter what the system can do. I want it to just be based off of the process. So this is the business process. Now build for me the business process. But what we've found is that we sometimes over engineer the solution because the process is so complex. And it's quite possible that we don't actually need to do all of those steps in the business process. They created that business process because of
Other
some
reasons.
other reason, right?
Yeah.
So just tell us what needs to be done. Like one is I need to schedule an appointment. Awesome. I don't need to know all of the nuances truly. Need some, but okay, so we need to create a new work order. What are those data points that we really need?
Right.
Okay, customize the service appointment mobile page layout. But why do I have to do this again? I think it's because the default field service page layouts can have too many fields on the page layout for the mobile app. Like, what the hell do I need this on the mobile app for the technicians? Right? So they don't really, they'll need that. They don't necessarily need anything for the dispatcher console. So I guess I understand why they're saying this. Clean this up to simplify what's on the page layout for the technicians. That makes sense. Same thing with this. Yeah, that makes sense. Background image. I never do this. What is this? Oh, right. Okay. I don't ever use a background image. I don't know if anybody's ever done this, to be honest. Like this is, if you want to brand it, and maybe for some companies, they might want to, it's this image in the background. So instead of getting this, like, what is this? Geo or some whatever. Right. So it could be a static color. So in order for it to appear here, you have to use a custom attribute in the connected app. I didn't know that. Okay. That's friendly. And then you can set up some branding colors too. So yeah, that's kind of my idea for this one customer, to just go through every single one of these features and just turn them on. So set up document builder. So document builder also is a pretty good one, because again, you could be a field service customer that has been using field service for years, and now they know that there's a new way of creating documents instead of using the standard service report. And there's now document builder. This is the future. We're going to have to at some point migrate them off of service reports, probably. So this is probably the faster way to turn on document builder instead of just creating all the templates ourselves and updating the page layout and assigning the signature types. Like we would get it a
It's
lot.
nice because it provides a starting point, and a lot of the time customers don't know what they don't want until they see it, and this gives them a lot to see without us having to put in a lot of effort behind the scenes.
100%. Yes, that's exactly the point. So I'm pretty interested to see how far we actually get. And okay, so this was also interesting, AI. If we can turn on the pre-work brief really quickly with this, then I'm turning it on. If it doesn't actually work, then forget it. Or we can go through all these steps, and then if it still doesn't work, then okay, well, we set it up and it's not working. I mean, what else can I do? But it is pretty interesting. Look at all the stuff that you can get with pre-work brief. It's basically, I mean, in quotes, we'll test it out and see. We can get that for them really quickly. Right. So if we think about time to value and making use of, so this one customer did buy the field service, Agentforce for field service. So we can turn this on and see if it's just as quick as
Cool.
they claim. Right.
Okay.
But that's it. I'm not going to do anything else. Like these are all other things that we need, but yeah.
All right.
So it's a pretty cool approach, and hopefully simpler. And yeah, so this is the way that I'm envisioning the design and discovery piece phase to go, but we'll see. I don't know. We're gonna try. All right. So okay, so based off of this though, one thing that is missing here is, okay, schedule field service work. I don't see anything here about preventative maintenance or planned maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a big one. So I called it out. I told the customer, out of all of these things that we're seeing that you want, we're going to give you skateboard everything except for maintenance. So I think all of our work and configuration and all of that's going to be done with for that. And also, we have asset service lifecycle here. That setup is not here. However, the documentation I found was relatively clean. It's just a very limited, I guess I don't want to say limited product. It solves very, very pointed solutions. So there's not much that we can do to advance it. I don't know if that
Mm-hmm.
helps or not. Yeah. So we'll just, again, set it up and take the feedback. And I'm going to run all that feedback through the product team before we configure anything.
All right.
This one, it will be interesting. If we can get service territories to be automatically created for us, that would be awesome. Whoa. Clone service page layouts. Oh, this is just to make the objects easier to deal with because I'm constantly changing the page layout. Oh, hey, Varsha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good, thanks.
Sorry, I'm also having lunch at the same time. Sorry for.
Oh, no, that's good. Good. That's so late. Like dinner already.
I know my kid comes around this time, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, afternoon, after school snack becomes lunch. There were a lot of advancements to Salesforce Go for the winter release, and we just got a customer that is starting and who is willing to try out what implementing with Salesforce Go looks like. So we're just kind of running through what this looks like and just to anticipate what could be coming around the corner. And, we want to report back to you all on what we're finding. Have you, in any of your encounters yet, Varsha, have you encountered anybody who is willing to try out Salesforce Go?
Not yet, but this was something I was exploring at my end just to see, what it offers.
Yeah, definitely worth it for the initial setup for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because, that was really good. But then where it's going to get really interesting is like, so defining the field work, boost mobile worker efficiency, this one I think is the most valuable because it does document builder, it does data capture, it does rework briefs.
That's cool.
And timesheets, like all of this, it does for you. So I really found this to be encouraging. And then at some point, I don't know where to access it, but eventually we will be able to do setup with Agentforce. But I don't know where that is yet, and maybe that's going to be spring. But anyways, I'll find out more from the team this week, and I'll report back next week on where that is because what they demoed to me was how to shape your service territories. So you would have a conversation with Agentforce, and Agentforce would give you recommendations and suggestions, and then it will create your territories for you. I don't
That's
know.
cool. That's cool. Does it also do anything around geographical mapping, Leanne? Did that come up?
Nothing about that because that's what I was saying too about polygons and service, the operating hours with time zones. Because at a very bare minimum, we need to set up territories with the time zones as operating hours so that we're scheduling in the right time zone.
Yeah, that's a recurring one that keeps coming up, right?
It is. It's the worst. And I have one customer who never set it up properly and now they want to redesign for it. And they're like, I can't believe that it's going to cost us money to do this. But a lot of the cost is associated with they want to have a calendar. So if we can't get activity capture to work for us, then I have to develop something. I don't know how to do that.
What do you mean with calendar?
Good question.
Are they like looking to see, who is booked where? Is that what they're looking for?
Well, what they're trying to say is, okay, let's see, is field service settings in here? Yeah. So what they're trying to do is make a service appointment appear on their Outlook calendar.
Oh, that's supported out of the box, right?
Well, ish. So
I know with absences there is some stuff needs to be done, but it's there, It's not as bad as other stuff.
Correct. So what we would do is we would say synchronize services to calendar events. So a service appointment would create a Salesforce event. Okay. And so I would save this. Then on the event side, so you would go to your calendar. And I think it's on dispatch. So wait, am I in my demo org? Yes, I am. Thank God. Imagine I was in a customer org. Would be bad. So I think it's when you dispatch, then it will create an event. So let's just, oh, Gloria Barnes, let's just dispatch. Dispatch.
There is also a cool caveat that I came across. This was not field service, but for a scheduler project where we were trying to map it out on a calendar so that there was some level of visibility. That it
Mhm.
does take some time for Einstein activity capture
That's
to
the
do the sync, right? So sometimes it can cause confusion as if people thinking that it's not working, then it
exactly.
does.
That's exactly the out of the box piece. So yes, you have to have Einstein activity capture, and then you have to wait a bit.
Yeah.
Where are my service appointments? Well, actually, it's still meant to be an event. It's not a service appointment. So I'd have to log in as Gloria Barnes to see that. So let's just do that real fast.
You can also add her calendar on the calendar, right?
Can I
Yeah, you can.
add calendar? Oh my God. There you go. So it's only what gets dispatched can appear on her calendar. So now this event, more details, the attributes on the event, it's related to the service appointment. The assigned resource is the assigned to or the owner. There's no concept of attendees. So where's attendees
Hmm.
here? Do I have to add it as so
Wasn't there a
name is a
mapping?
contact.
Sorry, Leanne. Wasn't that something we could go in and configure in the Einstein activity capture mapping? Like, what do you want to say? I don't know if I'm recalling it correct. I did this a while back.
Let's go and check that out. But I don't know if that can map to the event.
But even I think I did something around it, but then I don't recall. It was a while back.
I just recently set this up in my own personal org, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in the sandbox. Oh, well, let's try it. I got Google, so user level. Hmm. Yeah, go both directions. I don't want to do contacts. That freaks me out. And I don't want to do emails. That also freaks me out. 30 days. Don't sync private events. Hmm. Oh, interesting. Contacts. That's only contacts. I don't care about contacts, but I just care about events. Okay. Oh, cute. But I still want, I don't have the perms for Gloria Barnes. I would have to assign the perms.
Hmm.
But yeah, I could just say all the field service technicians. Mm,
Yeah, this usually needs like an admin on the other side.
yes.
So once we once we are done with these steps, where it shows all the configurations that we have done so far, there is one of the tabs where it says, okay, what are the fields that you would like to map with the events? I don't, that's the location where I was suspecting if there is something that is
Yeah.
allowed would be there.
Yeah. Under configurations, settings. Yeah, I actually turned this on. Show synced and captured events. I think this was one thing that I always turn on because this is the one that you can actually see. This created a lot of red accounts in Salesforce because of that delay that you're talking about, Varsha. They're like, why don't I see it? Well, because there's actually two kinds of calendars. There's the synced calendar and then the ones that you actually create in Salesforce. So it's kind of like a shadow or something. It's weird. But what they really wanted was if there's a contact on the service appointment or the work order, then invite them to the calendar invite. I don't know if I could do that.
That's custom, yeah.
Right? And I would have to add that field. But, I did do some other configuration as well to determine if it's an absence or a service appointment by looking at the related to see what the initial ID is. Because if it's an absence, then I wanted to do something. If it's a service appointment, then I wanted to do something else. So, but that was more on the receiving side. So every time that I talk to a customer that wants to connect Outlook with their schedule, service appointment schedule, I always say, no, you don't let it drive from Salesforce. So I can have absences come in to the org from Outlook, but only let it be one way. So from Outlook to Salesforce, and then for service appointments, one way from Salesforce to Outlook, not the other way around. Don't create a meeting with your customer and then expect me to create a service appointment and assigned resource for you. Like, I don't, that's a pain for me. I don't want to do that.
Not for the appointment, but maybe for the absences, right?
Exactly. I will only allow it from Outlook to Salesforce for absences. That's it. Yeah, because for appointments, there could be some other rules that it's violating, or who knows what. I don't want anybody creating appointments except for the system like Salesforce.
Something that I also played with was, in Outlook, when we have a meeting coming up, it can be marked as busy or free. Like, is it a blocking versus non-blocking calendar, right? You do have the option to sync. There is a field on the event which helps us drive that status in Outlook. And that's field, then you need to go, show time as that's the field, if I'm not wrong.
It's not on my page layout.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong button. Okay. Then that's awesome. Okay, so we'll use that. And I thought it was attendees. Yes. So adding those contacts as attendees, I wonder what would happen. I don't know if it maps. So let's go to details, actually. Did you notice that it said Lance account? Oh, it's the account. Is that I'm going to just. It's also a contact. Okay. So let me just change this to be Xavier and then Jane Gray. Let's see what happens to the event. So this should change, but I don't know about changing these. I wonder what this is. Is this a compact layout or what?
I think it's a component called Meeting Digest. Yeah.
So that changed. That's awesome. Let's check to see. Okay. Oh, I only got the attendees being the person, not the contact. But the contact didn't map to this. But I wonder if that's because it's not on the service appointment. Let's just try that one. Let's try that one thing. Okay. I wonder if it would do it on create, but yeah, that was the one piece. That's where I think we would need some config. So because it's related to the service appointment, we would have to grab it from the service appointment, or we could probably climb up, find the work order and grab the contact from the work order, just depending on where they're populating the contact. Or yeah, they ultimately would want to have attendees there, and that would be interesting. Like, so if the calendar sync happens, do the attendees come over too?
Yeah, and if multiples come in, right?
Mm-hmm,
I have
exactly.
seen some friction there for sure. Like you can type it out, but to like automate that whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm,
I feel like
exactly.
we'll have to step in at multiple places.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Okay, well, we covered a lot today. We went through Go. One of the things that we are going to be missing for this other customer that we're building for is preventative maintenance or planned maintenance. They have a lot of interval maintenance schedules, so out of the box isn't going to cut it for them for sure. So out of all of the things that we're going to deliver for them, we're going to try this approach is out of the box for 80% of their build, and then the complex piece is going to be plant maintenance. And then another customer I have wants to do this whole territory reassignment, align the operating hours with time zones, and then do this whole calendar management thing, which could be interesting or it could be scary. We'll see if Einstein activity capture works for them. And yeah, I think that was it. We'll find out more about Go and what's coming down the pipeline, because what we did here was that we would be able to design the service territories with Agentforce. So that might be interesting. Like, can you upload a picture of your territory boundary? Then that would design your territories for you. Will it create polygons for us? Because I would love polygons created for us.
Yeah.
So that's it for now. If anybody has anything they want us to cover next week, let me know. And otherwise, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you. This is really great.
All right. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Al.